Hi, Julie.
Hello, Tina. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. I'm happy to see you again. I missed you
Mhm.
and I missed everybody else. It's so good to be
Yeah,
back.
yeah. We took last week off because it was like Easter weekend, right? And
That's right.
just to have a break from everything. So, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Little break and regroup. We need to
regroup.
regroup through this year. Maybe several
Mhm.
times we'll need to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, for those that are joining us, welcome.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Yeah. And we encourage those that are listening, if you want to add anything to the conversation, whether you have a question or you have a concern or a struggle, yeah, we want you to feel like this is a safe and comfortable space to share and open up, right? But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
because we want to try to help each other out and be supportive, right? No
Yeah.
judgment.
No.
Yeah, in love and light, right? That's how we want to do
Absolutely.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. Hi, Mom. I see you there.
Yes, hi, Doreen.
Yes, we are all in this together, and our your April energy forecast was so interesting to read. Really, I'm so appreciative of how honest it was and open you were about the emotions of April because we are all experiencing this sadness. I've heard so many people come to me and say, I'm just sad. I have nothing going on. I haven't lost anyone yet. Nothing right now. But there's just this feeling of overwhelming sadness and grief. And you don't
Hmm.
have to lose somebody to fall into sadness and grief. We're all
That's right.
grieving. We're even grieving how life used to be, for
Yeah,
us. So there's all kinds of grief and all kinds of sadness, and your sadness is not
hmm,
any less important than anyone else's sadness.
right.
You're not sadder than anyone else, and no one is sadder than you. And the same
Yeah,
goes with happiness too. You see social media doesn't help with looking like people are just having the best time of their life, or beating all odds, or
yeah,
and each side of the spectrum is not good to be on. Each side,
yeah,
whether we have this kind of fight to who's the bigger victim going on to, and who's lost more, and we're all in this together, and we have to remember that. You remember months ago we said we have to stand our middle ground,
yeah,
and that's exactly what it is, because it's a double-edged sword with this claim to have the most heartache, or to have the most challenges against you, or it's the survivor mentality. We talked about that a few times too. The last man standing wins, and what do you win? We're all getting ourselves so polarized, and we're on these islands with our trophies, but we're all alone
yeah,
in our wins. So we've got to come together in that middle ground more, and learn how to celebrate small things too. That
yeah,
gratitude will help us from sadness. But I don't know. What are your thoughts about that, Tina?
yeah. I want to say, like, I've been really struggling. I'm going to be honest with my emotions and
Mm-hmm.
my mental health, and and for me, it's like, okay, part of it is what I pick up on the collective around me, the
Right.
general public. It's also what I um, hear and take in from my loved ones that are in my inner circle, because they are struggling too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it's also too, like, I have to think, okay, well, I'm, there's certain things too, that's in my world too, that I'm struggling with, because it's like it's a loss.
Yeah.
I'm grieving,
Right.
and feeling like, what, like, worn down and worn out is part of it
Yes.
too, I feel,
Right.
and I don't, and it's not just, people are quick to say, well, don't listen to the news, or it's because of this or that, and it's like, it's more than that. Like, it comes from all directions. It's from the naysayers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whether you're for or against, whatever your stand or belief system is with what's going on right now,
Right.
um, it's it's just all taking its toll. It's like, you know, I'm just tired of it all.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not just COVID, you know, it's like the economy, it's the Me Too movement, it's the racism. Like it just seems like there's one thing after another, and excuse my language, it's like at times it feels like we're fucked.
Yeah.
Where,
There's no better word for it.
you know, is anything going? It feels like nothing's going right in our world right now. That's how I want to put it.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just feel really disappointed because there's a lot of slogans and a lot of companies that are saying like we're all in this together, and it's like, no, we're not. We're not. I feel like, you know, if I feel like the need to, like, you know, I need to vent, or I'm feeling really sad today, can I talk to you about it? I'm finding people aren't wanting to be present for that. They're not wanting, because they're right away they go to, well, you know, what are you complaining about? Or you look, do this or do that. And it's like, you know, I get that. Like, I think a lot of people know, like, okay, yes, if I distract myself, sometimes it works, but it's to the point where I feel like a lot of these distractions are not working.
Right.
Right. We were talking about this, like the numbing. It's like, you know, it's not bringing that soothing. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I have to sit with it on my own, because I think a lot of people are feeling alone. It's like, well, I am feeling profound sadness, or I'm feeling a lot of pain or struggle, and I just want to let it all out. And it's like, who can I talk to about this?
Right.
And even like if you go, let's say, I'm not saying, like, I can't speak for all medical establishments, but a lot of, I want to say, like, I think there's a lot of them, it's like they won't see you in person. It's by telephone, right? I don't know, or even maybe, I don't know if they're doing Skype, but it's not the same, because it's like, how much, you know, they're limited on time too. And I think they're feeling worn down and worn out as well.
And you feel this disconnect with them. You know, you're trying to say how you're feeling, and they're thinking about the next patient and COVID and the vaccine argument and all of these things. Shirley, hello to Shirley. It's so good to see you. And she has this great analogy here. She says, we're in the same storm, but different boats. Some have yachts and others have dinghies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great thing. But that's where the soul survivor mentality has led us, though, because we're so isolated anyway. We started isolating ourselves by building alliances to kick others out. You know, it happened in the workforce. It happened. So you built these alliances to kick others out so that you could rise, you know, and then these alliances, sure enough, the last two standing one would have to turn on each other to be truly the winner. Yeah. So we had winners and we had losers. We had yachts and we had dinghies, you know, and that was so polarizing, and it spread through worldwide. It spread throughout the world, this polarization of, really, it was wealth inequality, but inequality itself really pulled this division even further apart. And then COVID-19 with the social distancing, well, we were already so socially distanced by our polarized thinking, our myopic thinking. And how can you not do that when you're isolated? Yeah, that's all you can think about. But when you're hearing any argument about anything, it's me, what's best for me, what I feel, what I believe. You know, no one's thinking on the broader perspective anymore, because they're so isolated. You know, how can you care about someone else when you're not relating to them? You're so different in your beliefs. There's no peers anymore. You know, we used to have peers and colleagues, and that changed. It changed when competition, when the race to the gold, you know, took over our humanity, really. You know, you've got people, you know, there was a rally in Huntington Beach, California yesterday with White Lives Matter. Now, what is that going to solve?
Yeah.
You've got people screaming all lives matter as they're holding guns, the one thing that can take a life. So really, do all lives matter to you?
Yeah.
There's this hypocrisy that we're all seeing, and yet
Yeah.
you're not, we can't connect with other people. We can't say that's this, it's hypocrisy, and
Yeah.
so we've got to find the bridge. Once again, we've got to stay on the middle ground. We can't go to that pendulum swing that societies have done over and over again, from gladiator days when we were in fighting lions, to be the winner, to
Yeah.
prove our strength. We don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, it's interesting because, reflecting like on our world, and how it was and where we're at now. And it's like, there's this sense of like we've been taught to focus on the quantity,
Right. Yes.
right?
Right.
And I feel like, where we're heading or what we're going through right now, it's like it's trying to be the shift about the quality now,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Even in relationships.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's about, money, if it's
Mm-hmm.
about love, it's about how many years you live. It's like this whole time it's been about the quantity of it. Well, how many years are you married? Well,
Right. Yeah.
or how, or how much money do you have, or how long are you going to live till?
Yeah.
And like that's all great and dandy, but what about the quality,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right. It's all about the quality,
So, I
really.
mean,
Yeah.
somebody could be married for 50 years and they've had the crappiest marriage
Yeah.
ever in their life,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Or someone could be living, to 100 and they're miserable and they don't, because
Yeah.
they feel like they're not having, the quality of their life is not there anymore. So I think, we
Right.
got to start now focusing on the quality of things. And um,
That's right.
I think that'll make a big difference
Right.
in our
Absolutely.
world, right?
Yes. Quality.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
You
And it'll
know,
bring us together more with that quality, because uh, we are all in this together. We really are. I know it
yeah,
sounds cliche, and it doesn't feel like that because we've been so isolated, but in reality, we are all having a human experience. You can't elevate out of the human experience until you die. You can't be more elevated in a human body than anyone else, or
yeah,
more connected, or more, my husband Michael was saying the other day that his grandfather told him, "You're not better than anyone else, but no one is better than you." These are the things that we've been taught. We have all these new life coaches, instead of psychiatrists, and they're saying you're the smartest person in the room, you are the happiest person, you do these mantras, I'm the
yeah,
happiest person, you know what I mean? And that's just as dangerous as you're the loser in the room. It's just as
yeah,
dangerous, because again, you have no peers then with you. You're
yeah,
not broadening your horizons together and learning these things together, because you're on a different level, you're perceiving, because you've been told this.
yeah, yeah,
It's okay to have self-esteem. We need self-esteem, we need
yeah,
confidence. There's a huge difference between confidence
yeah,
and
yeah,
and right and isolation, really, because you're putting yourself above, whether you're the most depressed, you've had the most, like, again, you're arguing for your limitations, that I'm the biggest victim or
mhm,
I'm the victor. Both sides are dangerous to humanity and connecting with each other. It's
yeah,
all about connecting with each other and
yeah,
weaving
yeah,
that web.
yeah,
Hello to Marnie, and she says there's so much disconnect. We're all missing that human connection, and
yeah,
that's right. We have to reconnect now. We have to reconnect in different ways. It will never be the same again after this division, but there's
mhm,
new ways now. Change is
yeah,
inevitable,
yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And and I think, when it comes to, let's say, because I believe like when you're going through, it's very easy to share like our good news, right?
Very, yes.
And to celebrate good news, right? Um, but it's like we've kind of been taught like when it comes to going through a rough patch or sad news or you're struggling, to like, there's still a stigma of like, well, keep quiet about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're going to bring me down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if we go down that road, like there's also this fear about like, oh, are you going to commit suicide? That's
Yeah.
a big taboo still to bring up
Oh,
that
yeah.
subject, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Suicide, death. And sometimes I think what people are looking for, this is my feeling, okay, is that when someone nowadays is saying like, I'm in a really deep, dark place, or I'm really sad, or I'm really struggling emotionally or mentally, I think people are looking for, well, come sit with me.
Yeah. Right.
Let me. It's like they want someone to receive them in their rawness, in that pain. It's like, so it's like I think they're looking for someone to receive them, and it's like, just hear me out. And I think that's all they want. They don't want necessarily someone to come and like solve all their problems or
Yeah.
give them the answers. It's not always about that. And I think that's where we've been led for a long time with this. And it's like, it's not always about that. It's about, sometimes it's like, just being there, letting them get it all out and just listening. Right. And then if you
Yes.
can, I don't know, like, depending how it, like now it's harder, like, okay, maybe we can't give a hug afterwards, but, you know, say something loving, or
Yeah.
just, yeah, hear them
Right.
out. Don't. And maybe even ask them, like, it's like, what can I do for you, or what is there anything
Yeah.
I can
Yes.
share with you, or help you with, you know
Right.
and not everyone's, that's the other thing. It's like I find we've also been taught, like, figure it out on your own, do it on your own, so it's hard to receive help.
Well, yeah, because you feel like you're
Right.
not coping. When you feel like
Yeah.
you're not coping and someone kind of assures you, yeah, you're not coping, you just fall into this fear. But, I had this moment. Sometimes I feel like I had a really, really hard time with losing my dogs in 2016 and 17. I lost 3 dogs, all different ages, all from different things. And the three of us suffered horribly. We grieved for these 3 dogs. So we fell into a situation where we got a mini Aussie Shepherd locally, and then I got a mini Aussie Shepherd from my cousin Chris, and then those two mated, and we had 2 puppies. So after we lost 3 dogs, we gained 4 puppies, really, because they were all within a year old. So we had 4 dogs. So I thought, well, I can have some time to not have to grieve, because it hurt me. Tina, or whoever's listening to me, I thought I was going to die. I could not breathe when I lost the last one, Kiki. Literally kicked me in the stomach. And my life was over in that moment. Like, I didn't have anything I could look forward to. It was nothing. I looked at these puppies. I loved them. I was happy, but I missed her. It was the one I missed. And so after we did our show 10 days ago, Kyla, my baby from my cousin Chris in Utah, she looked like she had gotten stung with something on a Thursday morning. And by Thursday night, we were putting her down.
Yeah.
And it was so out of the blue. I had just thought to myself, well, finally, I don't have to deal with loss with the dogs, because they're my family. And then you get that kick. I remember emailing you saying, I can't do this. I'm not strong enough for this, for this kind of grief. I can't do it again. But I kept breathing, and I kept doing what I was doing. I was in Walmart shopping for Rosie's birthday. And I remember saying on the show, Rosie felt cursed because something bad always happened on her birthday. And sure enough,
Yeah.
So you get knocked down in life. You get
Yeah.
kicked in the teeth. You do. And it comes out of the blue. And it's when you least expect it. But that sunrise does come. There's a moment in Castaway where Tom Hanks has been isolated for 10 years, and he says the sun does rise again.
Yeah.
It does rise again, and you find beauty in life again. And we will all find beauty in life again. We will all find our joys in life again. It doesn't feel like it when you're in that moment, you know, it really doesn't. But I had you and I had mom, and you know, mom and dad came over that night, and you know, I had support, and
Yeah.
you'll be okay. You'll be okay through loss.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. So when someone's telling you, oh, people have it worse, or
Yeah.
well, people lost a loved one, a family member, and I know they did. I know they
Yeah.
did. I know humans come before animals. I'm not one of those. You know, I wouldn't trade a human for an animal life. You know, but loss is loss, and grief is
Yeah.
grief, and
Yeah.
there's no telling your emotional body what hurts more. You know, there's
That's
just
right.
it doesn't
That's
know.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it makes when someone says something like, oh, but look at your life this, or you should be grateful for that. When I feel like when you are struggling emotionally and mentally, that's the last thing you need to hear. That does
Yeah,
not, right?
right.
And it makes, and then makes even, I feel like it even knocks the person down even further.
Yeah, because you feel like you're not
Because,
coping.
right.
Yeah,
So that's where I feel like this, I'm of the belief like, sit with them, sit in that grief. And, you know, it's not easy, right?
right.
But it's like, yeah, it's almost like if you can sit through it and go through the motions of that grief,
Yeah,
you know,
you have to.
you will let go a lot of it,
That's right.
right?
You have to.
Instead of
Yeah,
just keep pushing it down and trying to validate it, well, you know, or compare it. And we, you know, and it's like we got to stop doing that because, like you said, you know, yes, in life there are always those worse off than you. There are
that's
always
right.
those better off than you,
That's right.
but don't it should not make you feel lesser than when you are grieving or when you are in mental emotional anguish, right?
Right. Your
Yeah.
anguish is valid. It's valid for you. It's
Yeah.
absolutely valid.
Yeah.
And what can we do to help you through it? Not to shut it down, not to tell you not to feel that grief, but what can we do to help you through that grief? You know,
Yeah.
here's my hand. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like so when you shared with me about losing Kayla, you know, I was like, just I think I said to you, just grieve, right?
You
Let it all
did. You
out.
did. You said just
Yeah.
release it, let it sit with it. You told me just sit with it and
Yeah.
feel it.
And just
Yeah.
yeah, and cry, cry,
And
cry.
it hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, it helped. It did help because then all of a sudden I did look at the puppies and I did find joy in those moments. And also it teaches me to stop grieving those that are not here. You know, I wasted too much time with Kyla's puppy years thinking about Kiki, you know, and what
Oh
I had
yeah.
lost, you know, and I'm not doing that with these puppies. You know, I gave Kyla 1,000 kisses. We had this game Ciao Bella, as you know, where we'd kiss little both cheeks of hers, and she was just such a special soul. But live in the moment, Julie. Stay in the
Hmm.
moment. Stay in the moment. Things
Yeah.
happen. You know, it hurts, but stay
Yeah.
in that moment. Don't let yourself go to a future moment where you're feeling better, because just stay in the moment, you know,
Yeah.
and it'll be okay. And you can cope, and you can cope. You can. I
Yeah.
was saying suicide is such a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams said that, and he committed suicide, you know, he said it in the
Yeah.
movie. And it really is, but
Yeah.
you don't feel like it's temporary in the moment. So just
No.
remember that everybody feels that
Yeah.
way. Everybody's feeling that kick, you
Yeah.
know, that you feel like there's a microscope on you from
Yeah.
God sometimes, you know, just
Yeah.
testing you. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard sometimes,
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah.
coping. Yeah, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. And just get through it together. Reach out,
Yeah.
call someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to I mean grief is probably I you know it's almost I want to say like grief is probably one of the subjects that doesn't get addressed enough.
Right. Because it's scary.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, people think, well, you're taking me to dark places
Yeah.
or, you know, what's this going to lead to?
Yeah.
And, you know, I, It's funny. Well, I shouldn't say it's funny. So when my mom passed away, because I was very, very close to my mom, and I was in the room when she took her final breath, and I was so heartbroken, and it wasn't, and then it was like not just her death, but there was a lot of loss. I was going through a lot
Yeah.
of things at the same
It's usually the way
time.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like my mom passed away, and then 2 weeks later, my dad was in intensive care because he had a major heart attack and they didn't know he was going to make it. And then one of my cats passed away, like
Right.
one thing after another.
Yes.
And it was interesting because the doctor, I can't remember which one it was, but said, like, had asked me, am I thinking of suicide? And like that took me aback, and like, and death and everything. It's like, well, I've been surrounded by death these last few weeks, few
Yeah.
months, the month, right?
Right. Yes.
And one of my close friends, I brought that up with her. I said, I was taken aback by the doctor asking me this. And she said, of course, when you go through a lot of loss and when you're grieving, of course you're going to think of suicide.
Right. Yeah.
She says, who doesn't?
That's the best thing she could have said.
Yeah. And like, for me, it's like, what a smart and really insightful thing to say. And it's like, it's true. Now we think of it now, and she says, but the thing is, like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to follow through? Because she says some people are going to follow through and you can't save them all. And she says some people won't. They're going to stop because,
Right. Yes.
they don't want that solution. They don't want to go there. But
That's
she
such a
says
good
it's,
point. Yeah,
and
you
it's
can't save
like,
them all.
yeah.
Right.
And I feel like, maybe,
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert in suicide prevention. I don't encourage it or anything. This is not what it's about, but it's like, sometimes that kind of breaks down the stigma of it, doesn't it? It's kind of like, because you feel like, okay, if I'm having thoughts about suicide, but I shouldn't tell anybody, right? Because right away, people
away.
get, yeah, they'll put me away, or I'm going to scare off.
Lock me up.
People get freaked out,
Yeah.
Especially if you say, like, I've been thinking about death, and thinking about it and doing it I want to say, are two different things, and it freaks people out. And I think, that statement, there's some comfort in that, to know, like, okay, well, I'm not the only one thinking this.
Yeah. Right.
Am I
You have
making
peers.
sense? I don't know. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have peers.
Yeah.
You have like-minded people that are thinking this way, and you're not an alien. When you're
Right.
feeling so dark, you feel like an alien, and no
Yeah.
one wants to be around that energy. I don't want to be around that energy.
Yeah.
But I think a better way have done it. I think, had they have taught on these shows, these American Idols and these there's can only be one mentality, had they have shown an island where 10 people had to live with each other for a year and work their issues out, it would have been different. You know what I mean? Then you have a real winner as a team. We don't have these teams we can go to anymore. We don't have, this camaraderie that we used to have. So that's hard. That's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too, I want to share, like, this has stuck with me all these years. So years ago, I wasn't doing this professionally all the time, all these reading stuff, but years ago, so I had this job, and when you go certain workplaces, they will have, like, different types of training, like job training.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one job training we were attending, and there was this one exercise, and it was a game, and it was an arm wrestling game. So you had to pair off with another coworker. And the gist of the game was, like, whoever won the arm wrestling match, what, like, hypothetically was going to win $10 million.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, of course, I want to say, I think the whole room, we were competing, like, okay, I want to win because it's 10 million. We're pretending we're winning 10 million.
Yeah.
And then when all was said and done, the instructor said, he says, you know what the real answer should have been? you both put your arm, you don't wrestle for it. You both
Yeah.
put your arms down and divide the money.
Yeah. Right. I
10
love
million.
that.
Yeah. Because 10 million is a lot. And it's like, what a great
Yes.
analogy that we need for today's world.
Right. I love that. Yes. Yes. Put our arms down. All of us put our
Yeah.
arms down.
Let's put our
Yes.
arms down and like work
Love it.
together.
Yes. And find the
So that,
balance.
yeah, because
Yes.
there's enough. Like, let's start sharing, right? So,
Yes. We've
mhm.
got to find ways to balance out this emotional body. We're all a wreck. COVID
Yeah,
has really done a number on society, right?
yeah,
Society in general.
yeah,
So we've just got to balance it out. We've got to put our arms down and stand our middle ground and balance it out for the collective. We can do it,
yeah,
But we've got to admit when we've been defeated in those moments, say I'm defeated right now and
yeah,
I don't know what to do. I didn't
yeah,
know how to get off the floor when I lost Kyla. I didn't know what to do.
yeah,
And be honest about that. Be honest about saying, I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've tried my favorite
yeah,
TV shows. I've tried my favorite food. I've tried, drugs. I've tried alcohol. I've tried everything and nothing is working. Be honest about that so that we can find things that do work together,
yeah, yeah,
find new ways to find joy and camaraderie and
yeah,
celebrating together, not our individual victories, but our victories as a whole, as a society.
yeah, yeah,
And build on those.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I do want to share that, I feel like part of this sadness, especially because it feels really intense this month, the sadness.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to do with the energies,
Mm-hmm.
so whether you believe in that or not. So when I look at the numbers, because I do numerology, so April's the fourth month of the year, so that's a number 4 energy. And then when I look at it, the calendar year of April, it adds up to a number 9 month. So the number 9 energy, it's about the dark side of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like facing our darker selves, the darker aspects, going through those motions, but it's about healing it. That's why that comes up.
That's
So,
right.
and then so when I look at all the numbers that way, it's like this is a month where, our darker sides, our darker emotions are wanting to surface, they're wanting to come up, and it's going to take extra effort to heal that. Like, it's not going to be easy solutions.
Right.
The answers won't be easy. So it's almost like, we're going through the motions because it's about finally setting it all free. So whether that's like, you're cutting off, breaking free, setting loose. So it's like, I almost want to say to people, so if you're feeling like crying, set it free, like cry, let it all out, cry, cry, cry.
Yeah.
If you feel, I don't know if people feeling mad, but if you're feeling mad, like,
Yeah.
be safe about it. So it's like, I don't know, get a pillow and punch the pillow or scream at the pillow.
Yeah.
Or go out into the trees and scream your head off or something, right?
Yeah.
But this is a time where it's like we're trying to set it all free, all
Yeah.
this pain and
Yeah.
anguish,
Yes.
right? We're lightening our
Absolutely.
load,
Yes.
so like, because things are
Yes.
heavy, so
Yes.
things are really heavy, and it just feels like the past is catching up to us this month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when we're trying to look ahead, it doesn't look hopeful right now. We're feeling despair. We're feeling defeated. We're feeling like,
Yeah.
where's the light? Where's the light at the end of this tunnel? So we're in this in between right now. So it's like, okay, try not to think too far ahead. It's like, okay, what do you need to set free so you can get a sense of like, okay, what kind of future, you think you want to create, or what kind of things you want to invite into your life to create a better future for yourself or your loved ones, right? So that's
Yes.
where I feel like the energies are at right now.
I feel like you're right. I feel like the nine always makes me think of the nine of swords too. This is
Mm,
in the Light Seers tarot. But you
yeah,
can see that she is caught up all in her emotions. She's all alone in this, and it's all mind. It's all the swords are all about communication. So this is self communication. She's just in despair,
yeah,
and what she's doing is letting it go. There's a spirit bird in here as well too. But you've got to let this go in order to move on to that next cycle, and we are moving into a new cycle now. You saw it as the world in
yeah,
the in your energy forecast. The world is the last card in the major arcana in the tarot, and it is truly a completion. But in order for her to step through, the original, she's naked and vulnerable in the world card, and she's balanced. She had to balance the last cycle out. She had to release what was keeping her out of balance. And sometimes that's our own thoughts. Our own thoughts just keep us out of balance. And we're so critical. It's such a critical world right now. We're so critical on ourselves that keeps us from stepping into that newness, stepping into that unknown, because we're scared. We've been fearful of the future and all these predictions for so long that it's
yeah.
kept us from living in the moment and just stepping through into the unknown, which we're all going to have to do. We all do every single day. We transform every single day without noticing it. You can see a
That's right.
baby, and a year later, that baby's changed so much, but mama doesn't know that. It's the baby steps that we're all taking. We're transforming every single day. We're shedding that skin just like the frog does,
Yeah,
and the frog was another thing you saw
yeah,
coming. The frog truly represents cleansing, and stepping.
mhm,
The frog can live in land and water. So the frog has learned how to adapt through evolution and all kinds of things.
yeah,
But adapt, we have to adapt. We have
yeah,
to be the water, because the rock gets weathered away from the water. The rock is can't stand in the water for long. The
yeah,
water will wear it away. So we have to learn how to be more of the water. And these changes are hard, but we're all changing, and we're all
mhm,
in the dinghy, with,
mhm,
with Shirley. Even if they have a prettier one, it means nothing. They're
yeah,
in the same storm, like you
yeah,
said. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I mean, it's easy to, yeah, like this is a clearing and cleansing month, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of it. But it's like a lot of it is, are now our mental and emotional, maybe spiritual selves now,
Right. Yes.
and it's like we've got nowhere to run from it. Like it's almost feel like there's no escape from it right now,
Yeah. In your face, right?
right? So it's like, okay, so how are we going to set that free? And it's like, okay, we need more people, to step up and like maybe say like, yeah, I've struggled too, or I have my moments too,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going
Right.
to be here for you. Like, I'll help you get through that pain,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yes.
Um, I lost my thought. There was something else. I was going to say anxiety is high right now,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So, like we're going through, it's like we're facing death and, our fears, because you said you brought up the fears. And it's like number 9 is about facing our fears.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost like, okay, it's like a lot of people are looking out into the world, like who else is facing their fears? How are they doing it? How are they getting through this? And I feel like that's what people are searching for or wanting right now.
Yeah. Exactly right.
And it's like, okay, so where are those people? Where are those things?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yes. And in order to face your fears, that's where the balance comes in. Truly balance. Nature is number one way to understand the balance and the freedom in nature, like just observing nature too. You can't ask nature questions. You can't tell nature how to do it better. You know what I mean? You can only
Yeah.
observe how nature's doing it, and and listen to understand when someone's coming to you. Stop formulating that reply in your brain. Listen to what they're saying. Stop with your point. They don't need your point. They don't need your opinion. They just need you to understand.
Yeah.
And so just meet them where they're at for a second. It won't
Yeah.
bring you there. You don't have to stay there, but just
Yeah.
meet them where they're at for a second so that you can take them just to that next level with you to say,
Yeah.
look at what a pretty sunrise. Look at how beautiful that tree is, and show someone that there's still beauty here, and there's beauty everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's hard to see it in the storm. It is, it's hard to see. There's no rainbows yet,
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 So we just have to try to like I want to say be the light.
Yeah, be
And
the
being the light,
example.
yeah, and sometimes being the light, it doesn't mean about you have to have the right words or you have to distract them from something. Being the light could just be like, okay, you can come to me.
Yeah,
You can unload. And I think that's what people are looking for, like unloading. And it's like, they want to talk about their fears, but it's almost like, but people are scared to be vulnerable
yeah,
because, and this is where the frog comes in. It's like, because are they going to jump to conclusions about me? Are they going to be making a judgment
critical.
about me, think
Yeah,
I'm crazy or
right.
like, yeah, like I need to go to, I'm going to say like the loony bin. I don't think they call it, but people have that
Yeah,
stigma, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Depression has always had a stigma. The men in the white coats were going to come get you if you were crazy. You were crazy. Look at all
Yeah.
the, especially against women, the inequality because of their emotions. Women have always been a little more emotional. It's balancing out now. I can see the genders are balancing out as far as that. But it
Yeah.
used to be, women were always more of the emotional ones. So that is balancing out more, but we've been told that we are crazy for those emotions, or you're just being crazy. And then menopause hits, especially, that's hard, and you feel
Right.
crazy and people calling you crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so to have someone just say, like, when Kyla died, when we had to put Kyla down, the people who really, really know me, and I know they've had their own losses with animals and pets and stuff, said, I'm so sorry. They didn't say, oh, I know when I had to do that with mine, it was the worst thing. They didn't take it from me. They didn't take my grief from me either, because sometimes I don't want that either. I don't want you to
Yeah.
take my grief from me. I want to feel this way, and that's important. I don't know why I just
Yeah.
popped into my head, but don't feel like you have to take their grief from them if they're coming to you in grief. Just acknowledge it and say, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this
Yeah.
way. I'm just
Yeah.
sorry. Sounds really hard, and
Yeah.
you're doing a great job,
Yeah. 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 And sometimes, it could be simple as like, do you need a safe space to cry?
Yeah. Here's my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. And
Yeah.
that's sometimes that's all it takes is just, I'm here for you.
Yeah. That's it.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes. And you
guys.
get through and you get
Yeah.
through together. And if you guys have any ideas I would love to hear them as well. It is a community. I want this to be a community where we can come together and say, I think this
Yeah.
helps, or yeah, yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. But I mean, it's almost like, it is a tough time because it's like it's like when you look around, like it's so many different things seem to be going wrong. And, so many areas are struggle. I don't know if I want to say struggling, but are like in disarray, chaotic. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. And I think people are wanting to feel secure, stable. Um,
Yes, balance, right?
yeah. And it's
Everything
like,
feels so crucial and vital, and just like it's the life at stake. You know what I mean? Like it feels very vital, and
yeah,
it's like when we were talking about when we were teenagers. The strifes we went through as teenagers. My mom will tell you all about my strifes as a teenager. But everything was so crucial and so vital, even though it really wasn't. But I was perceiving it as, this is everything, and
yeah,
and so we go through that, right? We go through that ebb and flow, that up and down of things being so crucial and so vital. And we have a little bit of PTSD too, we've
yeah,
been traumatized. The world has been
that's
traumatized
right. Yeah.
from
I
all
think,
kinds of things.
that's a really good point. Yeah. Everybody on this planet is suffering
Yes,
from PTSD.
that's right.
Yes. Is it
right?
PTSD or
It's
PST?
PTSD.
Yeah,
PTSD.
everybody is. Yeah, everyone, it's been a lot of trauma.
It has. It
So
has.
we just need to give each other a break,
That's it. Right?
right?
And stay, when people say stay off social media, it's everywhere, but stay on social media. But I'm very selective. Like I belong to the local gardening Facebook group. You know what I mean? The
Oh
Phoenix
yeah,
Facebook gardening. Things I love, cooking. I belong to the vanilla co-op bean, thing. And then you're only talking about what you love. There's no
right.
politics, there's no division, there's no opinions except for what's better tasting or what
Yeah,
grows better in this area. Stick to those
yeah,
kinds of things. What Facebook was really great for, and so all social media is really great for that,
yeah,
connecting you with like-minded people, with your peers.
yeah,
A lot of people homeschool now. They're not getting, with COVID, they're not getting that camaraderie
yeah,
that we need as a society. We
yeah,
just really need camaraderie
yeah,
and colleagues. Again,
yeah.
we can't just be holding the trophy all by ourselves
That's right.
or the
That's
biggest
right.
loser. Or if you're not going to get the trophy for being the happiest, I'll get it for being the saddest, And
Yeah,
either side is not healthy. Either
yeah.
side is
That's
very
right.
unhealthy for our
That's right.
psyches, right? We're
Yeah,
good
yeah,
enough. We're smart enough. We're strong enough, and that's
yeah,
all we need.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there's not, it's like, we're still in this, I want to say, game of like who's better than the other and
Right?
who's right.
Yeah.
And, accusations, flying back and it's like,
Suspicion. Yes.
I'm
Done.
just done.
Right? I don't care. I don't
You,
care. I
it's
need to
not
be
helping.
healthy.
It's not
Right.
helping anything anymore.
It's not. It's really
Right.
not. Yeah. It's time to shut
And
the conversation
so
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do we need to create now to make a joyful or to, for people to feel like, you know, they're part of life again.
That's right. They're
Because I
human.
feel like both sides are trying to snuff the life out of each other. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's wearing people down.
Yeah.
Right.
They feel no zest
Yeah.
for life anymore, no
Yeah.
passion, no drive.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? There are no winners here, because
Yeah.
everyone's a winner, everyone's a loser in this scenario.
Yeah.
So we're all just in the same freaking storm. Let's
Yeah.
just find what bonds us and just stop the conversation. You're not going to change anyone's mind. You're just
Yeah.
not. And you're
Yeah.
not their teacher either.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself that I'm not their teacher. Life is their teacher and their own experiences is their teacher, not me. It's none of my business.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where it's like, okay, so if someone's going to decide, they believe in this, let them,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's not always easy to do, especially if it goes against what you feel or believe in, but
it's not for me to enforce.
yeah.
I'm not the enforcer of my beliefs. I believe what I believe by my own life experiences, and I'm not the enforcer of that.
Yeah.
It's just my belief,
Yeah.
and that's mine. It's sacred. It is no one else's to have. So
Yeah.
you don't have
Yeah.
to give that away.
Yeah. 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 And I think people, we need different kinds of leaders, right? Like we're always thinking like we need to follow one. And it's like, no, I think this is a time where it's like we can follow more than one.
Ourselves.
And there's
Yeah.
all types of different kinds of leaders. So it's like,
Right.
let's say you come across someone, it's like, oh, she's so gentle and kind.
Yeah.
And you can, and you really get that vibe from her. And it's like,
I can
she's a
feel that.
leader in that. Yeah. So she's a
Yeah.
leader in being gentle and kind. So it could be like, how does she do that? And it's like, we need that type. So we need that kind of leadership. And then there could be someone who's like very good at like, I don't know, creating opportunities in life.
That's right. Diversity is everything. We can learn from diversity.
So we have to, try to find those people, and those
Mhm.
people are like, hopefully are willing to share and
Yeah,
support those who are craving or wanting that.
right.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Learn from each other of
Yeah,
how we coped, how we did it,
yeah,
what helped, what helped guide me through, or how'd you get through that one?
yeah,
I have family members that have lost children, and I wonder every day, how did she get through that? My cousin,
yeah,
how did you do that? I can't even imagine, and
yeah,
it happens, and they come so strong. She's so strong, she can help anyone through anything. She is the true leader in life because she's
hmm,
mastered how to keep breathing and how to
yeah,
keep noticing those sunrises and how to live.
yeah,
That's a true teacher.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we can all learn from each other, and we all should be learning from each other, and we are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We're doing the best we can.
That's another important thing. You even guilt is just so hard right now because we're all thinking, how did we not see this? Or, I feel so much guilt in things that I should have known or should have seen, in relationships. I should have known that, but
Hmm.
it's just such a waste of time. Guilt, you can't change anything. It's like looking in the rearview mirror and screaming that you can't see where you're going.
Yeah,
It's time to stop looking in the rearview mirror now and just look ahead and be in the moment. Stay in the moment, I guess. Again, stay in the moment and
yeah,
stop predicting and stop judging yourself, because you go through this period too where you just judge everything about yourself. You just do this kind of life review when you're transforming. Everyone does. Everyone's going through that right now, and then so there's a lot of guilt and resentment involved there too. But
yeah,
be
yeah,
kind. Yeah. Be kind
yeah,
to yourself and understand that everyone is doing this. Everyone has PTSD right now. You couldn't escape it from COVID.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And people too, I find are guilting each other a lot,
Yes.
especially now with the vaccines, that are
Yes.
rolling out. Like, I'm becoming more and more part of, I don't know if like mainstream, but it's like, so you got both sides guilting each other, and it's like that's not helping.
It's not helping. Just keep your
It's
opinions to
just
yourself.
you're just adding to the mental
Yes.
anguish that we're all suffering from already.
Yes. I will say, though, that I did have the first COVID vaccine, and I'm very happy that I did. And my second one is on April 30th. And I am very personally feeling so relieved that there is a vaccine for this virus that has really knocked everyone on their ass.
Yeah,
I would never get into the discussion about it, honestly, because it really is a psychological thing. Like even the anti-vaccine vaxxers are working themselves up and working themselves up. So the fear of it becomes so much bigger than what it is,
yeah,
that it's just there. And there's no way to really stop that kind of momentum. It's just got to
no,
burn itself out. Eventually
yeah,
it'll burn itself out. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And my stance on the vaccine is you're damned if you do and damned if you don't,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So um, it's such a volatile
Yeah. Discussion. Right.
subject, yes.
Isn't it
And
though? Oh, somebody calling you.
yeah, I forgot to shut off the ringer.
That's the angels saying change the subject.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, Julie, I'm happy for you and your family. Like, and I,
Yes,
I support you guys because
I
it
know you
doesn't
do.
matter, it doesn't
Yes.
matter my opinion or belief on it. It's like because you feel better for it, I'm happy for you. That's
Thank
that's
you.
my stance on it. So
I
if
appreciate it.
you're one that says like, I feel better for not taking it, great.
Right?
I support you. And if you feel better because you did have the vaccine, I'm going to be like, great, I support you. And that's what
Absolutely.
we need.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Support.
yeah,
Yes. No
yeah.
matter what.
That's
Oh, now
right.
my dogs are agreeing.
There we go. Look at that. Signs everywhere. Well, I don't know if I hope this discussion, because we didn't know how it was going to go, right? It was very unscripted, and
Very.
it's at times it can lead to, like, I want to say like taboo, because I did have concerns like, how are people going to take it, and especially if we go down roads that are considered taboo or like um,
I know,
uh,
it's scary.
challenging. Yeah, and so I hope it was helpful. I hope we were insightful and maybe eased. I want to say maybe I hope we eased some of these fears or some of the pain, that we're all feeling.
Yes, because I think we
Yeah.
are all grieving in one form or
Hmm.
another, even what our former lives and who
Yeah.
we used to be,
Yeah.
pre-COVID. Yeah. So there's grief there. So reach out and don't be afraid to say I'm grieving, and don't be afraid. I deal with death at work because
Yeah.
I do probate and wills and trusts there. So sometimes I fear I'm a little desensitized to death conversations too. And I don't want to be cold and act,
Yeah.
like it doesn't affect me, because death absolutely, as you know, with the dogs, affects me deeply.
Yeah.
But the more you have, but what I've learned from that is the more I've had these conversations of planning for death, the easier it is for me to talk about it. And
Yeah.
then when people do lose someone, I can sit with that, and it doesn't
Yeah.
scare me into the next room, or
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's wonderful. Like, um, you know, we need we need to incorporate the subject of death more and more into our society, because
Yeah.
it's like everyone's so afraid of it.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't say everyone is, but a lot of people are, and even like media makes death we're all going to die. We're all going to
Right.
die. And
Yeah.
I think it's a subject that we need to bring up about and talk about it, and it helps dispel the fears. I think it does the opposite, whereas people
I
say
do
when you
too.
talk about death you create more fear, and it's like I feel
No.
it's the opposite, and you probably do too
Oh yeah,
with your
absolutely.
experience, right? Yeah. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I grew up in a family, I want to say very unique. Like, the subject of death, maybe not every day, but it came up a lot for
Yeah.
whatever reasons, right? It's not because we were always experiencing death, but it was like a subject that the family was really curious about, and at times would joke about it, and or
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
went through all the motions. So
Right.
yeah.
But I got to say, there's a difference between scaring and conversing. Like the death
Hmm.
clock during COVID's first emergence was certainly not helpful to talk
No.
about death that way, to see
No.
this clock
That's
ticking
it.
every single
Yeah.
freaking death. That's not helpful.
Yeah.
And it's not a conversation about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. So, um, yeah, you've got to have these conversations about it's fear of the unknown, of course.
That's right.
Everyone has this fear of death because no one knows.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
so
It's
it's
the
it's
biggest,
normal.
and
Yeah,
I want to say it's the biggest mystery,
of course,
unsolved
right?
mystery, because it's, and everyone has their own personal beliefs about it, like what
Right.
happens, during death or after death. And it's like, how can we prove it? You can only go
Yeah.
by, I don't
You
know.
can't.
What
You
can you
can't
go
prove it.
by,
Yeah. Well, there
right?
is no proof. That's the point. That's
That's
what
it.
faith is, though. See? So we have faith that we are seeing signs, and we have somewhere that we're all going to join our loved ones, and that faith
Yeah.
gets you through a life. To not have that faith, I don't understand, because
Yeah.
I don't understand how your coping mechanisms work with that. But for me, it gives me hope that I don't have to be afraid of dying. So
Yeah.
I'll look for those signs. And but I guess everyone has their own coping mechanism, so
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be in a afterlife, your belief, to be
Yeah.
hopeful and faithful. So,
That's right.
but I guess the point is, once again, is live in the moment, because you're gonna die. So why are
Yeah.
you experiencing that over and over in your mind and wasting time with your life when you're
Yeah.
just experiencing your own death over and over?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, just live in the moment and let it be. The
Yeah.
Beatles always had the let it be.
Yeah. Yeah. And and that could be like another show subject, is like where we just focus on the area of death.
Right.
And yeah, because I think that would be an interesting show.
Sure.
And my feeling about death is like, I feel the fear around that has to do with you know, how am I going to die? Is it going to be painful? I think that's what people more,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen, like the happening of it more than death itself.
Itself, right.
That's how I feel. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure. I mean, the thought of nothing scares the shit out of anyone, you know, that
yeah,
there's just nothing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they forget you're not going to know there's nothing.
yeah, yeah. Or is
But
it going? Yeah, or is it going to
yeah,
be painful? What's it going to feel like? Is it
yeah,
going to be painful?
no one wants to
Yeah,
be in pain. I mean,
no,
that's just from human
that's it.
experience. So, yeah, you've felt pain. Of course you
Yeah,
have. So no
yeah,
one wants that. But I guess that's the point uh, again, trying to predict your future, trying to predict an outcome that you don't know.
yeah,
So, right.
yeah,
So
yeah. Exactly.
stop predicting and just be more mindful of today
Yeah,
and what you're grateful for. That and appreciation, really, it starts there, right? Of coming out of these dark times is appreciation. And appreciating each other we'll get to sooner or later here if we keep
yeah,
pulling together and keep reaching back for each other and keep meeting each other where we are
yeah,
instead of trying to change you or you know, have some magic red pill blue pill. You know, I hate that analogy. Oh, I've been red pilled. You know, that's just so
yeah,
stupid. You know,
yeah,
there is no red pill. We are each other's red pills, you know, just by our love and our support, and that's
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Okay. Well, once again, thanks everyone for watching, and hopefully, you know, this show help. I want to say I hope it set free a lot
Yeah.
for everyone, right? And that you
So
feel lighter and better for it.
yes.
If you like our energies, some things we shared, and you want to, you know, sit down or have a session with one of us. Julie reads the tarot, and she's naturally psychic, and there's her email on the screen. And then I specialize in numerology and regular cards. Yeah, and you can reach out
Yes.
to me via email for a session. Yeah, and
Yes. Get your numbers read because you can see how they do relate. The nine really is a completion, and the, you know,
yeah,
they really do relate to
yeah,
everyday moments. So yeah,
yeah,
it's great.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah. And the nine energy, I call it, like, it's got this kind of, not quite a yo-yo, but it feels like, oh, I'm getting somewhere, and then boom, you're
Yeah.
knocked right back down. And that's the
Right.
energy of the nine,
Yes.
because it's like you're constant, it's a healing path. The nine ultimately is about healing, and like you're letting go, you know. So it's like, okay, this, just hopefully remember that in the back of your mind. It's like, okay, this is part of my healing journey right now, as tough as it is.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And reach out, even like reach out to me, you know, if you need, you know, a listening ear. I'll try to be there. Right. So,
Yes, me too. I will
okay,
just
Julie.
reach out to me and I will be a listening ear. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks,
You had a lot.
Tina.
So we'll see everyone next week.
Yes.
And yeah, and until then, everyone have a divine week. Light and love, everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.